Evening, friends. Welcome. I've just come straight from my other setup where I've been recording some of my Aeon Trespass Odyssey campaign. And right now, I'm about to dive into painting some Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Get excited. Get excited. I am. Hello, Timbo. I know most people don't care even a little bit about my board game streams. I can see that very clearly from the numbers. But I don't exist for your entertainment, I'm afraid. As dumb as that sounds. I do my little streams for fun, for me. And same can be said of my board game streams, so get in. I mean, the games that I play are awesome solo games, and if anything, if I'm opening up for some people maybe games that they wouldn't have known about or wouldn't have seen beforehand, then yeah, it's great. But I do it for fun. So that's it. Same as the painting, friends. Same as everything I try to ascribe to in this wonderful stream. Do stuff because you enjoy it, and that's it. Yeah, it might be all that you get. Ted Lasso. Last episode in 2 days. Not sure how I'm going to go. G'day, Lady Flamestorm. Welcome, champion. Last episode ever. I think we'll do the Icarian Harpy. I talked about this in the last stream. There is a specific colour palette for each of the stories in this game. In this particular Cycle 3, the colour is purple. Lady Flamestorm, I don't need music. I sing for all the wonderful people that come along and watch. They can spend points to make me sing, and that is all the music we need. Not really. I know pretty soon we'll have another champion joining us, and we like to have a bit of a chat, so no music. It's not speculation. It's speculation that there'll be another season. They said very early on that it was only going to be 3 seasons. Very early on. And then they came out and just sort of maybe teased the possibility of a 4th season because everyone's just frothing it. But I hope they don't. I hope they stick with their guns. So this will be purple. This will be purple skin, which will go into skin colour. This will be gold. What colour do we do the wings? Probably just grey. Alright. Bit of purpley, bit of purplies. Tough times in the world, isn't it? Have to rewatch one of the classics, maybe. Could be time for me to go back into the Daredevils, season 1, 2, 3 of Daredevil, in preparation for the 4th season. But I think they've sort of pushed that back a bit now. That was a cracking show right there. So yeah, I pretty much went from... Hello there, Yab. Pretty much went from just having no Aeon Trespass Odyssey content out there to just going ballistic and having 1,000,001 episodes on my YouTube. There's another one uploading right now. It's all happening. Oh, look. I'm really actually jazzed. I bought a new game the other day, which I'm going to play. Probably do some streams of, maybe. We'll see. It's called Too Many Bones. I'm really keen to play some Too Many Bones on stream or whatever, but I'm probably in no rush to film that yet, because I've only played it once and I'm sure I got 1,000,001 rules wrong. Even now, even with ATO, and I've played 3 full campaigns, because I haven't played in about 4 months, I know I've made like 4 or 5 mistakes each mission that I shouldn't have made, but yeah, it's okay. We try for the perfect game, and if we do not succeed, that's okay. We've done our best. Ah, cool, man. It's a fantastic game. I mean, if you know anything at all about Kingdom Death Monster and watched any of my Kingdom Death Monster streams, there's so much depth to the game, so much depth, and ATO is deeper than Kingdom Death. It's absolutely crazy. I've made a few mistakes. There haven't been any major ones. There was one pretty major one, but it actually didn't have a big impact on the game, I don't think. So This guy's a car. Thanks, Yondaharo. 14 months. What a champion. If I remember rightly, mate, you've been following me on Twitter for a long time as well. Buenos dias, my friend. Buenos dias. Hey, Karvok. So I'll tell you a little bit about this cool Icarian harpy. Which is one of the primordials from the third cycle of Aeon Trespass Odyssey. Easily one of the most challenging fights you'll have in the entire game. Easily. Not at early levels, but as it progresses up in levels, it just escalates very, very quickly. And its main thing that it does is it will evolve in the middle of the fight and increase its durability versus certain types of attacks, forcing you to change the weapons that you use to fight it on each turn. Makes for a very challenging fight, because eventually some of your weapons just won't hurt at all. It also uses a mechanic called bleeding. Makes you bleed. If it bleeds, we can kill it. But he's very, very fun fight, actually. He's my preferred fight in Cycle 3. The other guy is a dickhead. He's a dickbag. Actually, one of my mates from work told me that today as well, mate. He said it was just good fun. I love Arnie. He can do no wrong. Hey, Quiff. Mate, it's a very good observation. They have a lot of similarities. Where ATO excels over and above Kingdom Death is actually, it's probably excels in a number of areas, but the story is definitely really, really in-depth and detailed. And I actually sometimes find it too in-depth. Sometimes I just am like, let me go fight someone, you dickheads. I don't want to read about this guy or that guy. But that's few and far between. And it's generally just a really engaging story. It's well written. And as if you've played any Kingdom Death or you've watched any Kingdom Death and you know anything about it, you'd know that Kingdom Death sort of is about 3 phases. It's about the settlement phase, which is where you sort of manage your resources in the settlement. It's about the hunt phase, which is where you just head out on a hunt and you have some random events and that's it. And then it's about the showdown phase. Well, ATO takes all 3 of those things and dials them up to 11. You know, you have a map that you actually explore, which is over and above the hunt phase. You have a living ship that gains new abilities and resources as you explore new technologies, and then you have yeah, the battles, and I think the battles are just a little bit more refined than Kingdom Death. So Kingdom Death is just very, very much a hope for the best type of mechanic. You can get good at it, and you can play with some strategy. I think there's absolutely strategy in Kingdom Death, and if you want to watch some of my playthroughs, you'll see I've made it through to the finale in all of the ones that I've done. I think I've had 7 or 8 campaigns now, and I've only failed to finish 2 of them, and that was the first 2. Go for a light purple pastel violet. But yeah, really good game. In case you couldn't tell, I'm frothing it at the moment. Carvock, I don't play a lot of tabletop miniature games, but I do play board games every week on a Tuesday, tomorrow night. Very excited. Play a lot of board games. It's pretty much replaced it. I am still playing Marvel Crisis Protocol, actually. Played a tournament on the weekend. But yeah, most of my time these days is painting and playing board games. I won my first 2 rounds, and I would have played against a dude who I've played quite a few times before and beaten comfortably. But I decided to drop. 2-0 drop. It's a bit unusual in the old tournament world, but I was babysitting Hugo. G'day, Kaylin. Babysitting Hugo on the weekend, so decided to let someone else win the tournament for a change and go home and hang out with my little buddy. Well, the ATO is currently on Kickstarter now, and they are expecting to ship ATO stuff by end of this year, and I tend to trust that timeline pretty much. So now's the time, I think. Now's the time. Yeah, I've got him again this weekend, actually. Rocket's heading down to Adelaide for a trip, so little man will be coming to hang out with me for the weekend. Little boy. We'll see him on Sunday morning stream, probably. Maybe Monday night stream. Well, we should be able to make it look even more interesting soon, my friend, when we come back in with the airbrush. But yeah, it's looking okay at the moment. Uncle Dad. No, I'm in Brisbane, but yeah, a friend of mine's is heading down to Adelaide for the weekend. And I'm babysitting the dog. Gummy bears dancing here and there and everywhere. High adventure that's beyond compare. They are the gummy bears. Alright, bit of highlighting with some purple. That is true. And he'd caught one from Eddie and I about an hour before that too. It's a good day for the big man. The old board game painting. I love it. You don't worry about precision, you just worry about areas that require light and areas that require shadow, and you let the details sort it out. This guy is called the Icarian Harpy. He is a monster from a board game I'm playing on my YouTube channel at the moment called Aeon Trespass Odyssey. I haven't actually fought this champion yet, but he's a ball terror. We are the gummy bears. Yep, friends, last episode of Ted Lasso this week. I can't say that I'm excited about that fact. I mean, I'm obviously very excited, but can't say that I'm excited that there'll be no more Ted Lasso. I just feel like it's made my life better in many ways. It's made me want to be a kinder and more compassionate person. Some things it's fair to say I struggle with a little bit. Ho, ho, ho. Ha, ha, ha. Couple of tra-la-las. That's how we dance the day away in the merry old land of Oz. Didn't appreciate that. Hey, how did you get my phone? Oh, hang on, that one's just the one that everyone gets access to. Hello there, NetDiver. You subscriber as well. There you go. Look at you go. You know, I'm sure you could spend your money on other things. Hey, fantastic. Did you enjoy Oathsworn? We're still stalled out at like chapter 13. My mate who we played it with has we had to stop for about 3 months because he had to have a shoulder reconstruction, and he's only just sort of started getting back out into the games regularly, and we've just had other games we've been excited about. So, yeah. Did you enjoy the finale of it? It was exciting. See you, Kalen. Yeah, we were really enjoying it. The story was fantastic. And yeah, the combat was interesting and engaging. I found Aeon Trespass combat more engaging overall than Oathsworn, but that is partly, I think, because I was playing with a friend for Oathsworn, 2 players, and so I wasn't making as many decisions or looking at sort of interactions and combos between 4 characters. I was just looking between my 2. You know, the part of the thing that I enjoy about games like this is, you know, the strategy and bringing things together. So just having the one character and the one companion just felt a little light on decision space. Hey, Jared, for me, but yeah, still enjoyed it a lot, and I really enjoyed the character I was playing. I was playing the Blade. He's awesome. Maybe I'll go in and do an Oathsworn campaign and finish it off. That could be fun by myself. Hey, Pascal. How are you, mate? Yep. You get access to sort of one new card, but it doesn't feel like it really, you know, made a huge impact. But overall, it's a good game. Did you? I've painted 105 MCP. Did that in about, what did I do that in, like 6 weeks? And I've added a couple more in the last few weeks, Carl, which has been fun.
It must be that time of night.
Oh, welcome, Andrew. Welcome, buddy.
I thought I'd sneak on in.
I do need to sneak you in for realsies. There he is. Where is he? Nope.
That photo is getting work.
I know. I'm not doing it on purpose. I'm just bad at figuring out which one you're on. You're not on that one.
You and me both, mate.
Oh, there's a chat box. I got a chat box there. Cool. Let's leave that on.
Yeah, get the chat box up. That's good.
We don't need that. I've lost you, mate. Where have you gone? That's okay. Not you. That's not you. Surely that's you. No, that's not you. Dano, you're bad at streaming, mate. You need to sort your stuff out. I found it. Sort of.
We need a stream aid. Oh, come in the square. I can live in the square.
I don't know why. I don't know why. What I've done. I've lost it. I've lost your face.
You've got me reversed as well.
I've lost your face. Hang on a second. I've found it. There it is.
There we go. All right. Now leave it to me to adjust this camera.
I'm going to leave that.
To get this right.
G'day, Abe. How are you?
New spot.
Pascal, I didn't know you painted it for the promotional stuff. That's awesome. Yeah, really love the game, man. So if you're at all interested in board games, 10 out of 10 recommend it.
That's a square, indeed. Big square. So what's up? G'day everyone. Hello everyone. Who's in chat? Who's in tonight?
But heaps of new people just popping their heads in. Yeah.
Oh, nice.
And Pascal's back. Haven't seen him in forever. It's awesome.
Pascal Rubes.
The great man.
Evening, Jared. Evening, Timbo. Hey, Timbo, I've got a question, mate. Do you make t-shirts? Is that you who does the t-shirt stuff out in for the guilds in? Perfect. Good news. Good to know.
Bucks is about to send you a message, is he?
You know, just the ideas are ticking about.
Well, Carvock, you've got one of the biggest names in miniature painting in Australia right here in Andrew Buckley, mate. One of the all-timers.
How about that? That's a title shift from a year ago, isn't
No,
it?
no, I called it early, mate. Why do you think I hitched my wagon to your horse?
On the way up?
On the way up, mate.
Yeah, the only way is up.
Ride those coattails.
Look at this. This is some secret guilds in conversation happening in the chat here.
Yeah, don't trust
something's
them.
Been plotted. Something's been planned.
Don't trust him.
We're at 2 months now. 2 months. I'm excited. I'm getting pumped up.
Yeah, I'm keen. Like, I'm really keen for the event. I just haven't had the buzz for painting the stuff. I've just been so jazzed about playing this. So I'm not sweating it. I've got entries I can bring down. I'll be bringing down my my elements diorama. I think all of them.
Yeah. You got to follow your passion where it is at the time. If it's getting these games in and painting these models, and that's what it's.
And there's plenty of other. Oh, you got the gladiators. Yeah,
you
awesome.
got the gladiators today already. Did you? That was quick.
They have been really tempting me quite a lot. Every time I see them pop up.
Yeah, I sent you a nice little message during the week. Hey, I said, "Is there a name a more iconic trio? Because it's Miguel Vilches and
Ruben,
right? What a combination!"
Yeah. Yeah, we are talking about the guilds in Sydney, Carvock. Andy is going along and doing a little painting class down there, little jam session.
Yeah, jam session. So a little bit. I want to sort of set that expectation early that it's a little bit different to a painting class because we're restricted to a 3-hour time frame. So,
and also because you have no confidence in yourself to do a painting class because you're a god awful painter.
Well, there's that.
Don't be like that, mate.
So, do you know where the term jam session came from, sir?
Where the term what came from?
Jam session.
It's a musical term, isn't it, mate? Where dudes just get together and just riff and play music and all that sort of stuff.
It is, but it's deeper than that. So it's it came about. I mean, if you do a quick little search, it seems that it came about because I'm shamelessly just reading this, but I was meant to do this anyway because I wanted to have this be at the forefront of what it is anyway. So learning together is the flavour of the jam session itself. But a jam session came about in the 1920s when white and black musicians would congregate after their regular paying gigs to play the jazz they could not play in those gigs, right? So
right.
At the heart of it, it's collaboration. Right?
Hey, Cooch.
And that's really at the heart of what I want for these jam sessions. Is a collaboration of people in a room together. You know, maybe I'll be there to lead and focus it and bring subjects to talk about. But you know, everyone has opinions, and I welcome them all, whether they're correct or incorrect. We'll have you as a nice measure in the room for what's incorrect, I imagine.
Yes, my intent is to be there and be egging you on the whole way.
Yeah, bring your sax, Jared. If you can bust out some Kenny G for the entry. That's like pay me in.
The only guy I want to hear on the sax is Epic Sax Guy. Bit, 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 bit.
Thrusting his way through the center of the room. No, but yes, that is what I really want for the 3-hour window, and then maybe it will lead into some conversations about future classes around the country and what we can do to start propping up Australian artists teaching Australians.
So what I like about this, Sandy, is you're using a technique that I like to call under promise and over deliver. Right? So you're setting the bar low for yourself, mate. So you know you can just come in with a bit of trash, with a bit of rubbish, and no one's going to be disappointed because you've just set that bar really low. So I love that.
Yeah.
Love that approach.
You'll do it shirtless for me. Oh, perfect. Yeah. Everything's coming up. Buckhouse. So what's the news, mate? How's the week been? Anything exciting? What have we got to talk about?
Did we pick a topic this week? I don't think we did we?
We did.
Oh, did we?
We did. We let the chat pick a topic, actually. I think it would have been Paul.
Oh, it was actually board games models, wasn't it? What a convenient thing that I'm painting board games models.
It's not something I have the biggest knowledge of, but I'm sure I can participate. I've never got tired of the sound of my own voice so far, so let's do ours, man.
All right, I'll start us off on once I finish this.
While you're doing that, am I painting right now the best model I've ever painted? I could be.
It's early to say, mate. I don't think so, but it's early. It's early days.
Early to say.
So here's the first thing I'll say about board games models. They come in a couple of different varieties, right? The first is a material called PVC. The majority of board games figures you will get will come in PVC. The advantage of PVC over the Games Workshop plastic.
Hard plastics, yeah.
Yep. And those are called HIPs for what it's worth, high impact polystyrene. The advantage of the PVC models is that they have much more durability.
Well, they bounce, right?
Grab the chicken and just get the beating the neck out of you. Good for you, Blue Trin. I'm planning on doing that myself later on, champion. So give it a red hot crack. Yeah, as Cujo said, one of the downsides of PVC is, of course, the lack of detail, the rough sculpt that can cause the detail to get obscured. However, you could drop this guy that I'm painting right now and literally nothing will happen.
Yeah.
It will just bend a little bit and then it'll spring back. He's ready to go. And that's a huge advantage.
Yeah. I'm going to fly in with a hot take and just say, if you were selling stocks in PVC miniatures, I would not be buying.
Agreed, but let me argue some pros and cons in a second for you, because to my knowledge, there's not that many board games that have gone the HIPs route. One that did was Oathsworn, some figures I actually painted on the stream, which you can go and have a look at if you want to see them. However, where PVC obviously comes in and beats the shit out of HIPs is cost. So you can get 100 fucking of this guy for the cost of one high impact polystyrene guy. So
now, is cost more? When we talk cost in this regard, is cost? Is it? Are we really thinking about the consumer, or are we thinking about the producer?
We're thinking about the producer for sure. But Andy,
yeah, because if you have 100 pieces of shit, it's still a piece of shit.
Here's the thing to keep in mind, mate. Without the producer, there is no product for the consumer, right? So if cost is a factor, then it has to be measured, and it has to be measured positively.
So you've got PVC, hard plastics.
Yep.
There are some board games that are made in hard plastics.
Very few,
and
yes.
You've got that new one, right? That one that people were
resin
big YouTube channels were featuring last year. What's
still rubbish. I can't remember the name of it, but it was like a resin. Yeah. It's not made any waves yet, to my knowledge.
Is it Relic Stone that was being printed in it?
Yep.
Was that the game?
Yep.
Yeah. That game kind of looked cool. That miniature good range. Whoever designed those miniatures, I thought they were onto something nice.
Yeah,
those models look kind of cool.
So where in in the last 10, 15 years, PVC models have really blossomed. And originally they had that reputation of blobby rubbish from a lot of early board games models. But if you go and look at some of the PVC models, and I'll use Steamforged Games as an example, Steamforged actually decided to release all of their Guild Ball figures in PVC because it was so much more effective from a cost perspective, and the quality, in their opinion, was no different. I painted some. I generally agreed with their assessment. There was a drop-off in a couple of small areas, but you wouldn't have been able to tell unless you're an absolute model fanatic. So, yep.
Coming less off like research that we've done in the lead up to this chat, and more just through experience being obviously in the game for 20 plus years, Trent. Was, from my memory, one of the first companies to start making a move, or miniature ranges rather than, let's just talk miniature ranges rather than companies, that started to make a move towards this. Was this Privateer Press's early jump to out of metals? They started doing their first sort of hybridized range. What was that?
No, that Privateer Press was basically trying to follow suit with Games Workshop. They went from metal into trying to do plastics in the same way that Games Workshop does, high impact polystyrene. The issue with Games Workshop plastics, right? And I'm sure not many people know this, but for those who don't, the molds themselves are where the plastic for high impact polystyrene has a huge cost. Games Workshop sells so many units per mold that it's more cost effective for them to actually just bang on a mold of plastic, whereas for most games companies that's simply out of the realms of possibility. Privateer Press got to a point where they could afford to start to look into doing high impact polystyrene stuff, and it was still pretty shit.
And I definitely don't want to go down a path with this chat where we're sort of, sledging out brands here and there or whatever.
I'll sledge the fuck out of anyone, mate.
I know you will, but well, if the product wasn't great, then the product wasn't great. So I remember picking up maybe a couple of those early sort of hybrid sort of kits that they were doing, and I think the Menoth was the early stuff that
they did some Retribution.
Yeah. And I was excited by the endeavour, but disappointed by
the quality,
the product, right?
Yeah. That was
now. It's something to be said about experience in all of this, right? Because as you become more and more experienced, you don't really find roadblocks in these sorts of in these areas of the hobby, right? You can sort of you've done enough stuff that you can sort of migrate through. But I think if we're to look through the lens of someone getting started, which I think is always pretty much the best lens to look through, then it could be a bit of a barrier, I imagine, to getting involved. Which is sad, because in a way it's trying to move away from a bigger barrier, right? Which is metal miniatures.
Yeah. So let me dive back a little bit into the PVC conversation, because I think it's relevant for that question. PVC is the perfect beginner material. Absolutely perfect, because it's inexpensive. You can bang out, a shit ton of models early on that are really basically irrelevant, and learn your craft on some PVC models. I have bought board games that have just got an absolute fuck ton of models and given them to people that were like, I want to learn how to paint, and said, here you go, champion. Just paint 20 of these and have a crack and see how you like it. It's a perfect material for that perspective. And as the technology has improved, the quality has improved. This is a PVC model, right? The detail on this, if you couldn't see this mold line that I chose not to worry about thingy, and you look at the detail on the feathers, right? You probably wouldn't know. Like, you would not know that's a...
Yeah, you probably like, I'm sitting this as like a a mid-tier miniature overall, but
Yep.
I'm sitting it as an upper end for what its target demographic is and
Yep.
what it competes against is where I would.
Yep.
Is that
That's
is that
spot
a
on.
fair
Spot
assessment?
on. So this is at the top end of PVC models. It's obviously not going to compete with the HIPs, the high impact polystyrene, but it's not intended to, right? It is never ever ever going to be that quality product. What it is it's going to be accessible. And so the advantage of that for new painters is this guy cost 5/5 of fuck all. So you could paint 20 of him, you could paint 30 of him. It's all fine. It doesn't matter. But where it falls down is if you want to refine your craft in miniature painting to the next level where you're doing really good stuff, this model is probably not going to create that opportunity for you because it just doesn't have that extra final level of detail that you need to be able to do it. So I love painting board games models. Like I could sit here and paint board games models all the time because there is no level of concern from me. It's like, it doesn't matter. Like
This is a great point you bring up, right? And something that I've noticed more and more as I both get older, get more experienced. But your barriers, they just come down like walls around you, right?
Yeah.
There's when I think about painting an army, whether it be for Warhammer or painting a faction, painting an affiliation in Marvel Crisis Protocol, or painting whatever from Shatterpoint or any of the great games, a board game. The more experience you get, there really is no barriers, right? And that is quite liberating and allows you to tackle projects a little bit more freely and intensely. So there's something to be said about that. You've got an idea, right? You're about ready to go. You built your own board game. What are you building your miniatures out of?
me,
Yeah.
PVC,
What are you choosing?
PVC,
You're going out of
100%.
PVC.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
I just don't think that the difference in quality is anywhere near as much as people think it is now. Agreed 10 years ago, 15 years ago that it was. But now, I mean, this guy's awesome. Like, the detail in this guy is phenomenal. And he's PVC. So, this is...
Maybe we should address as well that barriers aren't necessarily... I was just thinking about this. I'm trying to think through past experiences. I remember cleaning up the entire... I had a wonderful weekend with friends, and I'm not the biggest board gamer, but I am a big mark. So if I have a great time doing something, I'm like all in. However long that lasts, who knows? But that's got a little bit to do with being a little bit neurodiverse, right? So let's just say the mates are over. We have a great weekend. We play some Zombicide, right?
Yep.
And that's it. I'm going to paint every Zombicide model.
Perfect.
Buy every Zombicide model.
Perfect.
I am Zombicide, right?
Yeah.
Now, this didn't get farther than the weekend that we had. It was actually a whole week. In fact, I had some mates come down from Sydney. And
Fun
it was
game.
A really great time.
Fun game.
Great time. Had a great time. But by the time I'd cleaned up and prepared every model for painting, and this is more on me than it is on the game, because I was applying a miniature painter's method rather than a board gamer's method to getting product sorted.
Bang.
And so after I cleaned it all up, I was like, I'm done. Like, cleaning these models is an absolute slog. And that's where I find the biggest challenges, because stripping mold lines off these sorts of materials is not particularly a fun time. I have found personally.
I completely agree with you, mate. I chose not to worry about stripping off the mold lines because it is an annoying fucking exercise. But let me throw this at you, mate. You can't go into painting figures like this with the same approach that you take to painting figures from a hips background.
And tell us more on that, because you've how many like ballpark it, how many board games have you painted now?
I don't know, 15 or something.
15. So that's hundreds and hundreds of board game models, right?
Yeah.
Some of them come with an absurd amounts of
Yeah.
models. So you've got a fair bit of experience, and that's like painting start to finish full sets, right? Like,
yeah.
Pretty close to. So it's actually completing 15 projects. And something last year that you did with Oathsworn, which I thought was really cool, was like you're like, I need to help people understand the process for doing board games is different to what they're usually used to coming from, if they have come from, in fact, miniature painting backgrounds.
Yeah.
And then you did a series of Oathsworn videos that I think if you look now, even on your YouTube channel, are some of your most successful videos you've done in terms of viewership.
Yeah.
So what does your, like, how does your, so you've already sort of highlighted that your system differs a little bit in that you don't take off mold lines at all. Is there anything else you do outside of, you know, what a lot of us who come to the stream are pretty used to seeing, which is, you know, your style of painting? Is there anything else you think about or employ when you're doing this sort of stuff?
Not really. It is just, it's just taking what I normally talk about, which is enjoying what you're doing, and dialing that up to 11. You don't need to worry about every minute detail. You do not need to fixate on just, I've got to get this little bit right and I've got to get this little bit right. It's just not worth it. There is way too many models that you'll be painting. Way too many. And
the good from far but far from good.
Exactly.
Strategy.
And when you look at every board game on a table of, 3 meters away, and there's 30 models on there, and all you're looking for is big popping contrasts and interesting looking models. That's it. Nothing else matters. Be Metallica. Carl, I did finish painting Curse City. I had an amazing time painting those figures. That was all done on stream. What I did with those ones is treat that as kind of a halfway between. I tried to do nice paint jobs. They were fun models. They were hips models, so I was able to put a little bit more time and effort into painting those models than I would have been able to for something like this. The process doesn't really change, mate. All that changes is the level of, I guess, care that you take with your details and stuff. It is significantly much lower, where I'm like,
well,
I don't care.
I actually think that that's a skill, right? I think it's a skill to be able to identify how to set realistic goals and realistic expectations for the outcome that you desire, or maybe the correct outcome that's desired. It might not be the one that you start off desiring. A lot of people think, all right, I'm going to get something and I'm going to paint it like box art, right? Like, that's a very common perception of people when they first get into something.
Yep.
And the reality of that is it's just not true. You know? And the quicker you can accept that reality is the quicker you actually start taking your first steps in miniature painting.
Look at how many box art models you and I've painted. I mean, 5/5 of fuck all for me.
Mm-hmm.
I've done
I've
done a couple.
I'm probably talking a handful, maybe 15 or 20 at that level that I've painted for various, games or, individual. I did a Hellboy to a pretty high standard for like that style of things, but nothing of note. That was more to learn a little bit more about Angel Heraldez's process.
Angel Heraldez.
I deciphered his Spanish videos for that one back as a younger man.
Did you have any Spanish water to go with it though?
I did, yeah. I imported some.
Good.
Lucky enough, actually, that the taps down here in Victoria are actually there's a bypass on Spanish water that leads it directly through the Victorian taps as well.
Oh, good. We don't have that up here, so
you don't have that up
I spent an exorbitant amount of money to get my Spanish water.
Yeah.
It probably is a skill, but I think it's a skill that I would love more people to just run with. We particularly board games, right? Particularly board games. We are painting these things for a purpose, for a reason.
Yeah.
And that reason is to play with it on a table. The same can be said of all Games Workshop figures as well. Some of them obviously are designed purely for painting, but the majority of them you are painting so that you can throw it down a table, roll some dice with your mates and have a laugh. That should be your mentality. I am painting this with the express and sole purpose of putting it on a table to play dice with my friends. Soon as you can find that, you're sweet.
So, do you think that it's the competitive nature of human beings that sort of really just gets in the way of this? Like the desire to want to have something better than your opponents or better than a standard and it's probably a fictitious standard that, mind you, that you've created in your head that you want to achieve. Like, where does it come from?
I think it's like a this is a bad example, but it's like a social media mindset. People see on social media and they're like, "Oh wow, that person's got such an amazing, perfect life. I want to have that." And they think to
Yeah.
themselves that their army's got to be box art worthy in every front, or they've got to deliver, X level of painted models to X standard, and it's just,
Mm-hmm.
yeah, that's not real. People that paint box arts do it professionally for a living and spend a fuck ton of time doing it. Other people have sacrificed other aspects of their lives to be able to achieve high quality results. You just need to put your time and effort in the things that you're excited about, understand your goals, blah blah
I
blah.
have an extremely hot take on
I'm ready.
extremely hot take for this sort of stuff, right?
Go.
And that hot take is, I think when and this is like a two-part thing. So I'm going to start it with the hot take and then I'll wind it back a bit. But it's actually insulting to the people who have had dedicated huge amounts of their life to to this craft, to this skill set, to assume like that you can just walk into it and be able to deliver on those types of results. Um, when it's looking at box art and things, and so again, I believe the quicker you can shatter that mindset, the quicker people really get onto their actual journey in the hobby. Like they can actually start it. Um, that's
Hot take.
that's how
Yeah.
I feel.
Hot take.
Yeah.
But agreed. Um,
Okay.
let me just make a statement that hopefully won't be controversial in any way, shape, or form that everyone will agree with. Playing against a painted army is fucking way better. I don't care how
Oh,
badly
it
painted it
just
is.
is.
I don't
Yeah.
care if it's painted badly. If you have painted your army and it is sitting across the table from me, and it is the guy next to us is playing with an unpainted army, I will take your army every day.
Yeah.
That's not a competition.
Yeah, so let's talk about it, eh? Because you enter into a. I mean, we're going on a bit of a tangent, but I like where this tangent's going.
All right, mate.
Uh, so let's talk about immersion and the importance of immersion in the gaming aspect of this miniature hobby, because I believe that when we turn up to the table together, we enter a social contract, right? And that social contract from me, what I believe is on my side, is that I want to help provide the most immersive experience I can for you at the table with me. And that starts with having miniatures painted. It then extends into my behavior as a player, and moves through to telling a story, a combined story with you that hopefully builds a memorable experience. That's what I believe the wargaming social contract is. And I believe to an extent that you can have that in almost all scenarios. Now, I understand at the very tippity top of competitive gaming, we can probably scale down the storytelling, but those moments are still going to appear in your game. So it's really just up to you whether or not you're going to emphasize the importance of that in having fun. What do you think?
Uh, I really like your mindset on this. You've always expressed that to me that you love the theme and playing games, and MCP is a great game for that, where you can really dive into the story of, these heroes that are have a reason to fight, and you're all about
Yeah.
that. I think the social contract that you enter into in a war game space is dependent on the location you find yourself in, for starters.
Yeah.
But I do think that in general, the only social contract that I want to adhere to is making sure that my opponent and I have a good time.
Yeah.
And the way that we do that can vary in situations. If you and I are playing a game, then I'm going to try and do things that are thematic and interesting because I know that's how you enjoy the game. But if you and I were playing at a tournament, then I'd kick the ever living shit out of you. But I would do it in a respectful way, I hope.
Well, we did this. We did this in an MCP game 3 months ago, where the level of skill gap between you and I was absurd, right? But we could still have a good time, and I still think the most exciting moment was a moment, or for my opponent, for you, was the most exciting part of the game in general. And I was equally excited for when you did something cool as to when I had the opportunity to do something cool.
Yep.
Which was,
Airlifting She-Hulk.
Air Force wanting a She-Hulk.
Boom. But yeah, so my answer to your question is I agree with that statement that there's a social contracts you enter into. But for me, the social contract is both players have a fun time. How that happens changes based on the situation, but there's no real change at a top level, at an upper echelon in my experience, of how you conduct yourself in the game. You conduct yourself in the same way. You be respectful. You commiserate your opponent on their failures. You try not to over celebrate your successes. Little things like that.
For sure. Don't talk about dice rolling, you know what I mean, or do your best to keep dice rolling out, which I'm a shocker for. Like, when things aren't falling well for dice, it bums me out. But ultimately, I know that it's not the dice that's the reason for me losing. It's just that I'm bad, and
I agree.
I could be better. So here's a little one with painted miniatures before we sort of loop back around to the conversation of the main topic, which is board gaming. If I'm in an external situation, so like if I'm at an event, then I'm on the same wavelength as you are in regards to what you said at the very start about painted miniatures, and as long as they're painted, I'm happy. But if I'm in my personal environment, I guess I come in a little bit more at the upper end, and want to see really nice painted miniatures on the table, right? Like that's my thing that I enjoy the most. So when people turn up and have put a lot of effort into their stuff, and I can really see that they've cared about it, like it really pumps me up. I really enjoy that. So I guess it's about managing your personal expectations as well.
Yeah. So to bring that back to board gaming, managing your expectations about what you need your models to look like is a part of it. Because there is absolutely no doubt that you sitting down with your mates to play a game of Zombicide is going to look better if those Zombicide figures are all painted. However, no one is going to care if your 500 fucking zombie dogs are painted to look like Golden Demon winning zombie dogs, or if they're just painted to look like zombie dogs. No one cares. Mm-hmm. The only person who cares in that situation is Bucks. For sure. He's gonna slap you for not bringing your best zombie dog to the table.
Yeah, I'm gonna get you.
No, but that's my point, right? So you just need to understand that it's okay if these aren't world beaters. Like, I'm sure most people know by now that I can paint okay, and here I am just fucking splashing some paint on this guy like it's going out of fashion. I've been painting for an hour, and he's almost done. Get in.
So I mean, we're going deep now. Actually, I had a message from someone who watches the stream. He's a good bloke. He's a part of our Australian display painting scene, and he sort of gave me a message and just said he was in an instance. He was in an instance where he picked up a commission.
Oh, don't do it, son.
He'll know who this is as soon as I say picked up a commission.
Pull it out. Get out of there, son. Don't do it.
But it's about both the setting expectations and understanding that there is just painting, which is something we talked about before in the stream. There is. I personally don't think there should be titles for everything. Like, there's display painting and competition painting, army painting, and, board game painting. It's all just painting. And the moment you understand that you can control the levels at which you paint at by setting reasonable expectations for yourself, is another way to grow really quickly in this hobby and in this endeavor, right? And so he was having a tough time with the commission, and then went back and sort of reflected on some of these sort of things in a personal conversation we've had. But I'm sure, as a listener to us, has sort of heard us gibber on about this before, and sort of reclocked, got in a great mindset, and ended up finding a lot of enjoyment in the process by realigning what he wanted to take out of it. So I just thought that was an awesome thing to hear. Yeah, like again, we just want more and more people to be able to hear this and understand it, and maybe put it into practice, give it a go.
I have no idea what you just said, honestly. You lost me somewhere along the way. But I'm sure it was great. I'm sure it was great.
Well, it's very simple, right? It's very simple. If you only have them, so like if you have a mentality that is like, I have to paint my best thing all the time, right? You're very quickly going to find yourself not having a good time in this hobby. But there are some people that can never ever break that. They can never leave that behind and always have to be thinking, I've got to paint the best thing.
Yeah.
And that's actually pretty much, in my opinion, impossible. You can make progress on each thing you do, but progress doesn't always look like you did something better, right? And that's, I think, the point of that message is that the fella in question here had picked up a project. He got himself into a situation where he was not enjoying the thing that he was doing. He had to reclock his mindset and remind himself that all painting is painting. It's not like I paint everything to the best of my ability always. And the moment that mindset change happened, he was able to start finding enjoyment in what he was doing and start to pull out some valuable experience.
Okay. I follow what you're saying. I think you did it in a very long-winded way.
That's all right. Well, we don't always have to go from A to B. Sometimes it's nice to stop past,
It's the journey, mate. It's all about the journey.
It's the journey.
The journey of the conversation.
And quite frankly, if we have a little bit of a think about where we are right now in this conversation, we're way off the beaten track. We're out macheting down some bamboo right now, trying to find the path, actually. But, apparently people like to come along for the journey, as you say.
The premise of tonight's conversation was, how do you paint board games? My response to that is, you just paint and you just have fun. And I think that is exactly what you were trying to say then, is stop focusing on the result, just paint and just have fun. And then the rest takes care of itself. But I'm sure there was more to your point, and I'm sure it was great.
Create realistic expectations, right? And understand that whether you're painting a board game miniature or painting a display miniature or just painting a competition level miniature, it's all painting in the end. Like, it's just painting to different standards is all it is. So set fair and reasonable standards for yourself based on the project that you're doing. So don't be a Bucks and think that you're going to paint 400s on beside models to a standard that's suitable for what Bucks expects of himself, and be more of a Deno in this instance, and just
paint the 400 in 3 hours.
Some paint 400 in 3 hours, and maybe, like, not a term we use as frequently anymore, but one that's probably never been more prevalent. We're not here to fuck spiders.
Yeah, just have a go, you mug. Just have a fucking go.
Don't go full Bucks. Yeah.
Like, what's the worst thing that happens?
Now, what you actually said the topic was, it's not the topic at all. What the topic was rating the best board game miniatures. It's actually the topic.
Well, that's a fair enough topic. There's a lot of good board games miniatures out there, friends. That's done, by the way, at 1 hour. The old Icarian Harpy. Get it done. We're going to do another one, hopefully also in an hour. This guy, he's called the something. No, you can't count Kingdom Death.
Is the best.
You can't count Kingdom Death. Technically, I don't count Kingdom Death models as board game models because they are PVC.
Rage. So Rage as in
Hips.
Rage from that AK has?
No.
AK Interactive has?
Cool Mini or not is Rage.
Okay.
Cool.
Okay, so what can we throw out? So we're
I'm gonna do a little bit of Kickstarter exhibiting, because I think the very best will fall under one of these.
Sure.
So
are we? So help me with my memory here. We're talking about the Egyptian game. What was that you did last year? Cool. Ankh. That's in there. Relic, the Relic Stone one that we talked about.
Runestone or whatever.
Interestingly enough, what about Runestone, whatever it is? Fingo, what about this new one, Apex Legends, which is an adaptation of the video game? That's a new one that's getting around now.
Yep. Potentially.
What was that one last year that was all the stuff from what's that Rackham inside Rackham thing? Not Trebang, the other one.
Yeah, Moonstone are good. Here we go, Bucks.
Yeah.
Oh, why does your face keep going away? There it is. Browser. No, fucking hell, Deno. What are you doing? I'm having a rough time.
It's been a long day today, mate.
Yeah, it was a pretty long day. Yeah. Oh, window capture. There we go. Window capture 4. No. There we go. Okay.
Welcome to Discord, friends.
Go to the bottom. There we go. We're ticking along now. Tickety-boo. Tickety-boo.
He's done it.
Look at me go. I'm a fucking professional streamer, friends. Get amongst it. Here it is. All right. This is probably number one option on the table. Hate. Artwork done by Adrian Smith. Figures are nuts. Very angry, dark aesthetic.
So lots of barbarians and trolls.
Yeah.
And chaosy sort of stuff, yeah.
Here is option number 2. Ankh Gods of Egypt. Of which I own all of these. I nearly bought Hate the other week, actually. Someone had it for sale. This is probably my pick. These are fantastic. Like, the God models are just absolutely top shelf. And that's one of the reasons I challenged that PVC is not as good as
Hey,
Hips.
can we put the Harry Potter game in this as well?
No, because they're metal, mate.
Are they all metal?
I think so.
No, they're not. No, because I've got the what's his name, the Hagrid, and that's not. I think it might be resin, mate.
Rising Sun board game.
Yeah, this is the one that I thought you would have had at the.
Yeah, this is for sure on the list, but I don't like the Japanese aesthetic as much as I like Hate, as much as I like Ankh, even Blood Rage. But yeah, I've painted this. These are all great to paint. These are all sick. Look at them all. Wow. Look at these monsters. Unreal. The Oni of Hate. He's good. He's good in the game too.
Pretty cool.
So my pick is Ankh, based on the figures that came out last year. I think they are the best.
I don't think I can make really an intelligent guess. Mine are just from what.
Look at these. These are painted ones by, I think, Angel Giraldez, David Gonzalez, Jose David Gonzalez, and I think Sebastian did some as well. They're just sick, man. Like, they're just awesome.
So, I mean, Egyptian stuff's cool, right? So
yeah. All right. I want to paint models. This guy's called the Sun Descendant, I think. No, he's called the Timekeeper or some shit. I can't remember. Guy.
Yeah, this one makes me think of the angel thing in Hellboy from the Guillermo del Toro one.
Speaking of fantastic films, those two Hellboy films were absolute feast for the eye. Hellboy 2.
I liked all three Hellboy films. I liked
David Harbour's one was good too.
David Harbour one, good.
Yeah, but Guillermo del Toro's second one, the Golden Army, incredible, man, incredible. Like the artwork style, just awesome. I loved it.
Yeah, I love the way they did elves.
There's a fight with a big rust monster or big plant monster. Unreal. Fuck me.
That's in the first Hellboy though, isn't it?
No, it's the second one.
No, the second one. Oh, when they're chasing him, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, nice. So it's gonna be one of these sort of few games. Well, we got to the answer pretty quickly on that one.
Yeah.
I thought there was going to be a bit more to talk about than that.
Well, I'm biased. I think if you're talking board game figures, there's really only one company, which is Cool Mini or Not, who do the best board game figures. Kingdom Death would probably win if I allowed it to count, but those are hips, and the detail on them is crazy.
I mean, what about Marvel United? They're pretty cool.
Marvel United Chibis would be a good shout, yeah, for sure.
Yeah.
Also, Cool Mini or Not.
Yeah, and I think Zombicide's probably got to be in that conversation, because that's one of the earliest of these sorts of games, right? And it's just been going.
Yeah, but
they keep doing cooler and cooler stuff with it.
The only thing that I would turn Zombicide off is the fact that it is older, has been around a lot longer. I need to go and look at the artwork for this guy because I don't remember what these things are. Are they cogs? Maybe they're eyes. Actually, let's go look at the artwork. I might show you this Kickstarter, man, because this is some pretty cool shit. While I wait for that to dry.
You know what, man? Picture framing is becoming more popular.
Yes, it is. Is that a good thing?
Anything's a good thing when it's done well, personally.
That is the exact sentiment I have, and unfortunately, I believe we're seeing a lot of not good ones. There has to be a purpose. There has to be a reason for using the picture frame. Why are you putting in a picture frame? It's a three-dimensional hobby where we want to reinforce the fact that you can turn it around and look at it. Framing it creates a two-dimensional version of a three-dimensional object, and there's some fun stuff with the depth and what have you, but ultimately it's just fucking less unique. So you got to have a reason for it. Got to have a reason. All right. This is... Why does your fucking face keep going away? I'm not closing that fucking thing down. Fuck me. Here we go.
Like I said, it's more as long as audio is good, that's the most important part.
The audio is not good either. This is the Kickstarter that's currently going right now. There is a fuck ton of content.
What is it called?
It's called Aeon Trespass Odyssey.
Oh, yeah, that's what you're painting right now.
Yeah, so much shit. I just want to see the Sun Descendant. Hyper Time Oracle, that's this guy's name. I want to see the artwork for it. Look at all this shit. This is all new shit. I'm going to try Hyper Time Oracle. Hyper Time Oracle artwork Aeon Trespass. Have a look at these. Who did that one? That's pretty good. View all. Where's the artwork? Surely there's some artwork for that bad boy. Are they eyes? What are they?
So while you're doing that, I was up very early this morning because I needed to go and have some minor surgery.
Oh, did you?
Yeah. So I was up quite early, and I popped in to Populus's stream. Actually, he was streaming very early this morning, so I popped in to say g'day, and we had a little chat. And he had a slight amendment to our list from last week.
Yep.
He felt that we should remove Squidmar and put forward Miniac based on the fact that Miniac, when we're talking influential, was kind of one of the OGs of really doing produced YouTube content.
Yeah, I think so. Koala, I agree. I did some videos of painting Oathsworn and they're wonderful figures to paint. Yeah, I like Miniac, but we didn't include him because he didn't include me on his fucking best diorama fucking builders.
I forgot to mention that to him, but it was actually just straight personal bias.
It's straight me casting shade at the guy because he didn't fucking give me my dues. So, fuck you, Miniac. And anyone's welcome to tell him I said that too. Fuck the guy. No, he's a good dude. But fuck him.
Yeah, Oathsworn is pretty cool. There's 2 characters I still want to paint from Oathsworn. Actually, do you still have the did you move him on, or do you still have a full set of the heroes?
I still have a full set.
Yeah, nice. Might have to get you to bring one of them down. I like that, the Crusader style guy.
The penitent. Only the penitent man shall pass. Started watching Ted Lasso yet?
No, mate. I've been watching From and very much enjoying it.
What's it from?
From is a horror style TV show, kind of suspense horror, supernatural storytelling type show done from the producers of Lost.
Right.
Yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I don't know that it's up your alley. You don't really like horror stuff, do you?
Not a big horror fan, no.
Yeah. So I've been watching that, and then I watched the Conor McGregor Netflix series that he did as well. So that was my sort of sporting intake. Really. And we're actually just rewatching Schitt's Creek at the moment.
Yeah, I just finished rewatching it. The best. Yeah.
I really enjoy David's cadence, hey?
David is an absolute lunatic. He's the best.
He's actually much more funny than the second time around.
Yeah.
I gave him credit for the first time around.
He's awesome. But that's just, that show is just really special. For people who haven't watched it, just you're missing out. It's great. David. What a show. This is just a fucking straight on dry brush demo. Why don't you just embrace it, mate? Embrace it. This is like a fucking really bad attempt at slap chop.
Yeah, I think actually, Timbo, there's probably a new episode of From airing tonight. Actually, I'll probably shoot off and watch it after the stream, and then get into some painting.
I need to bid for a colony in my game of Through the Ages. I'm getting smashed in this game. Getting absolutely smashed in this game of Through the Ages.
Oh, yeah?
Oh, my mate Koki's just fucking bombing me. Vast territory. I'd love it, but are we going to get it? No. Oh, Tobe's got it. You little dog, Tobesy. How good. Whew. Yeah, I'm about to increase my military presence quite significantly, but man, I need some more happy face. Where's that? I really want that architecture. Interesting.
She is a gnome, actually. She's a gnome rogue. JC. I think, anyway, I think she's a gnome, but I think others will be like, you can make the argument she's a halfling.
I think gnome.
Yeah.
That's why I hate her.
She's quite lean, right? And she's not like super stunty. So.
Yeah, if she was a gnome bard or a gnome monk, that's it. Fucking shut the gate. Alright, this is just... I'm just leaning in now. I'm just leaning in. Full contrast slap chop.
Bend it.
And then bit of deno at the end. Bring it.
This piece is going to take me a little bit longer than I originally intended.
Is he still doing soul racks? Sever racks? What?
Yeah, well, he's a big boy, isn't he?
He is a big boy.
There's a lot of muscle. But yeah, I haven't had much of a chance to paint the last couple of days because of going under for this time. So I've not actually ever been under before, so it was a bit
Scary?
anxious lead up. Yeah, nothing. Of course, it's all in your head, you know, but you don't really know that until it's.
Well, the two worst possible outcomes is one, they don't give you enough and you're awake when they're cutting you open. Suboptimal.
Two, they give me too much and I stay asleep forever.
Yeah,
right?
or two, they give you too much and you're dead. So, look,
Yeah.
only one of those outcomes is really bad, which is the waking up and
Waking up.
and getting surgery on you. If you're dying from it, well, that's fine.
It was only mine, so I was only out for maybe 20, 30 minutes tops, right?
Yeah. So you're a straight up sook.
I felt like I slept a lifetime.
Yeah. I'm high as a kite, I just might stop to check you out.
Apparently the first thing I said when the guy woke me up was, hang on a minute, mate. I'm working on some really creative ideas right now.
That sounds like you.
That sounds like me, doesn't it?
Yep.
And then I proceeded to tell him that I need to get out because I've got to send on some models to private collectors. And then gave him a rundown of what it is that we do.
Good stuff.
Gave him a little one-on-one stream. Party Monday morning.
Party Monday morning. That's good stuff, Bucks. I enjoy that.
I've been using the heavy bodies actually on this piece.
Have you?
Yeah, I didn't use any airbrush to set any foundational colour at all in this one.
It's interesting of you.
I thought I'd lean into full self-punishment on painting a big muscly man. They kind of look nice together too.
The big boys.
Old, yeah, Solrak and breasts when they're next to each other. Maybe I need to replint that up. What do you reckon? And put them on together.
You know, I'm a big fan of
That's
a double act.
Deno, isn't it? That is pulling a deno.
Yeah, big fan of a double act.
Yeah.
Based on what you've done on this guy so far, though, you may need to work on the non-metallic metal of breasts if you're going to do that.
Yeah. I've not done any non-metallic on this guy yet at all. Just a little bit of gold, like foundational stuff. I really thought we had no time at all, but we've got so much time.
Yeah, mate.
To prepare.
You had me flipping fucking discs, man. I was like, what the fuck? I was flipping out. I was like, holy shit. And now it's still 2 months away.
Yeah.
Relax, my guy.
Hey, Gruffy, how are you, mate?
G'day, Gruff. The Gruff man. The Gruffinator.
So, I got a bit of feedback when I painted breast that I painted the back skin better than the front skin. Now I feel like I've painted the front skin pretty solidly. So do I just not take the back skin as far up, just so I guarantee that can't happen again?
The reason the back skin looked better is because you had more dark shadows, more deeper shadows.
Yeah.
So
what I didn't do on that piece is control focus was very well.
yeah.
I think technically it was a very sound piece, but I think that I just didn't control the elements that take a good piece into being a great piece.
Agreed. Alright, this is just going to be contrast bonanza, is it, Dano? Wow, that's fun. That's really fun. Purple. Alright, I need to hair dry that again.
So we're going to finish up.
Well, what?
Are we going to finish up at about 9 again in the next sort of 10 minutes? Or
Oh, I reckon probably 20 or so. Full contrast paint. Fun times, Dano. Fun times.
Yeah, I think Gladiators, if we go back to all the way earlier on in the
Yeah.
show, Jason was talking about them, I think I might have to at least do one of them.
I really want to do all three of them. I feel like they just sit in that wonderful niche of being historical, fantasy, high quality, just absolute bangers. Like, I think they're
Yeah, I
some of the
feel
best
strongly on
figures.
that. I want to see so much more of that.
Yeah.
Fictional historical, it's called.
Is it?
Yeah.
Did you just make that up?
No, I was talking to one of my mates out in one of my good mates out in Brisbane actually, and he's a huge fan of like low fantasy games. He's actually like writing one at the moment with him and a bud. But he used the term, and I was like, man, that's a great term. That's a cracking term, mate. And he's like, really? I mean, it's pretty common. I'm like, well, not common enough around our part.
Does he need any help with his game? Does he need an expert to look in on it, or?
If he does, I will be sure to. He knows of you. He definitely knows who Big Deno is, and I'll be sure to let him know that that's available. I've got quite good relationships with many people up in Brisbane.
It's because it's a wonderful place. Gruffy,
Yeah, it has to be somewhere that I spend a bit more time in at some point in my life.
Gruffy, we actually just talked about it on this stream tonight, mate. Just go and buy yourself a board game that's got some big figures. It's just easy, and you'll get a whole variety of figures like this guy that you can whip out your airbrush. The detail's still big enough and good and crisp that you can, kick it around. But yeah.
I'd love to see them do like a picked one next, or like a woadish one. That would be pretty cool.
These guys?
Yeah, no, for these fictional historical type ones.
Yeah.
In that sort of Boudica
Yeah.
vein, I think that could be really good.
This board game is called Aeon Trespass Odyssey, mate. It's currently on Kickstarter now. Probably wouldn't be my recommendation to go for, as it won't arrive for about 6 months or so, but the figures are awesome, so...
Yeah, has all the chitter chat about that sort of ceased?
Yeah, well...
There's a few comments actually on the on last week's stream.
Yeah, it's mostly died off now, but yeah, I think that dude has lost about 5,000 subscribers in total after all said and done. So that's a pretty.
Was it quite a large?
He had 50,000, or he was just shy of 50,000. So I mean it's a decent amount, decent chunk.
And you know Raphael's? I bought some Raphael's recently.
Yeah, I use them a lot. Yeah.
Yeah, you know them well. Have you seen? Can you see my screen right? My camera right now? Can you see the tip? It's a cream.
Yeah.
Tip. Have you got those ones as well?
No.
Started to come through. I think they're changing them over a little bit.
They're good.
It's really long. It's quite a long bristled sharp point. I'm enjoying it. Actually, I think it's got some use.
Cool. Oh, outstanding, Deno. You've outdone yourself, mate. It's just absolutely rubbishly painted, but you're going to be able to make it look good in a matter of minutes. Do the base. State of Origin this week, mate.
Is it?
Wednesday night.
Who got it last year? Was it the Blues who got it last year?
Nah, the mighty Queenslanders got it last year, mate. It was a wonderful, wonderful series of events that resulted in a Queensland victory. I was absolutely over the moon.
Speaking of sport, there's potentially history in the making right now because the Boston Celtics have pushed Miami to a Game 7 and no team has ever in the modern NBA come from 3-0 behind and won a series.
So the Celtics have gone to 7.
They've taken them to 7 now. They'll play a best of 1 to see who goes through. And it's the Celtics so far have come back from being down 0-3.
Wow. Well, that'd be interesting if that happens.
They'll break history, yeah.
They'll break history. Yeah. Break it into a million pieces.
Yeah.
History as we know it will henceforth not exist.
It's changed.
No, that is cool. I love sporting stuff like that.
For me, a very avid Timberwolves supporter, seeing Jimmy Butler suffer and the Miami Heat would be delightful.
The Redcliffe Dolphins are having an amazing time.
Oh, mate, they're top of the ladder now, aren't they?
No, they're not. Top? They're not top of the ladder, but they're in the firmly entrenched in the top 8.
Yeah. I thought they were equal top, weren't they? I was the other day that said that.
No. But they're looking good, man. They'll probably make the finals in their first ever outing, and to my knowledge, there is not many teams that have done that in the NRL era. Well, there's no team that's done it in the NRL era, but obviously the very first teams that came into the competition, some of them made the finals. So, all right, we might call it there, friends. We might call it there because I have a lot of stuff happening on there that I need to wait for it to dry. So, rather than standing around for half an hour, we'll head off and we will be back. I'll be back probably Sunday morning unless Hugo's being a dickhead.
Are you doing any more bingo streams during the week? Any more?
I might do an Aeon Trespass stream on Thursday night, but more likely I'll just film some. I've recorded episodes, but then just haven't uploaded them. And then uploaded them to my YouTube. So I'll have a few more of those come through. Oh, Mittens, you've timed it to perfection. You've timed your raid to perfection. We're about to depart and go find someone else to raid, so we'll just raid on, Mittens. We'll just raid on. We'll just raid straight into Esmeralda. I just went over to Twitch to find my raid button and it's just giving me all sorts of echoes. Here we go. Esmeralda. Start raid. Good to see you, Mittens. Thanks for the raid. See you all soon, friends. See you, Buxy.
Hey, mate. It was a nice quick one tonight. We'll see everyone back on Party Monday next week.
Peace. Queenslander.